So I just saw this status get shared on Facebook that said something like, it's crazy that you have to be a financially stable man to date a broke woman with kids. And I'm just like, y'all men make it so hard, so hard for women to even want to be out in the dating world anymore. And let me tell you why. I'm gonna go for me. I've never been a bum. No matter how much money I had or did not have, I've never been a bum. I've always used my hands to make it work because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cosmetologist. I'll babysit. I'll do whatever I got to do to make money. I've never been a bum. I've always had money in my pocket, even when I was below the poverty line, okay? So let's start there. I've always had my own place. And the few times that I had to go back to my mom's house for a couple months, it was always because of a dude. Not because of me, because of a dude always needing something from me, but he wasn't working. Always asking for something from me, but he wasn't working. So I'm taking care of all these bills and I'm taking care of all this stuff, and he keeps asking for money while I'm going off of one income. So there are so many men out here who have never been leeches, who have never been bums. So they don't understand it, right? So they'll sit here and try to make it seem like women are lying about the fact that they have to take care of men. Either that, or they try to discredit the women who take care of men by saying, oh, well, we always have to take care of women. You're a man, aren't you? Isn't that your job to take care of women? The problem in society today is that there are so many men who are not Proverbs 31 men, because we always talk about Proverbs 31 women, but go back and read Proverbs 31. Because God definitely talks about men before he starts talking about women in Proverbs 31. Read the whole chapter, not just in the middle of the chapter when he starts talking about women's qualities. There are so many men who are not Proverbs 31 men. There are so many men who do not take care of business. There are so many men who will not put their feet to the plow, who will not work. There are so many men who will just do bare minimum and be okay with leeching off of a woman who is taking care of home, who is taking care of whatever kids they have together or she had before him. She will be completely okay with using just her income to take care of all of those things, just her car to get both of them around. He will be completely okay with that. Now, my issue comes when there are men out here who are not like that, and then they try to discredit the women who have had to carry men on their back. Majority of us women are carrying men on our back. There is not a lot of men out here, especially in the dating world. There's not a lot of men out here who actually are husband material, but women still want to get married, so they still getting married. Or they're cohabitating with these men who they know wouldn't take care of them for real. There are some women out here who ain't got to lift a finger. All they got to do is look pretty and keep the house clean, and their husband takes care of everything. But there are some women out here who got to look pretty, keep the house clean, work a full-time job, pay for everything, and then come home to a man that wants to abuse her, cheat on her, all this other stuff while she's doing all the extras. Just because that's not your dynamic does not mean that it's not happening. And I despise knowing that there are so many men out here who are not empathetic. I'm a woman who has never done what a lot of women have done. But let me tell you this. I'm not about to sit out here and say that there's not women who are whores. I'm not going to sit out here and say that there's not women who will cheat on you. I'm not going to sit out here and say there's not women who will act like they with you, but really they with Billy, Bob, and Jordan. I'm not going to sit out here and say that there's not women who will look down on you if you make less money than them, because there are women like that. Women can admit that there are flawed women. Men try to act like because they're not flawed in certain areas, there are not men that are flawed in those areas. And that is a trigger. How do you think that women are supposed to trust you and be willing to be in a relationship with you and be willing to submit to you when you can't even acknowledge the fact that the experience that she had before you was tough? The experiences that she had with men before you was horrible. Just because that might not be you, we are not going to act like those experiences that she had did not happen just because you're not the one that will do it. Our past definitely affects the way that we love, the way that we live, and the way that we treat people. Show me something different. But until you show me something different, do not discredit the fact that I guard myself in certain areas because of how many, I can't even use that word, because of how many emotionally and financially unstable men there are out here. There's a lot of them. You might not have ever hit a woman, but you know how many men hit women? You might not have ever called a woman out of her name, but do you know how many men call women out of their name? You might not have ever leached off of a woman, but do you know how many men are literally only with women so they can have somewhere to stay, and then they use her car to cheat on her? You might not do those things, but your brother probably do, or your cousin, or your daddy, your uncle. Somebody that you know does it. So stop acting like there aren't men out there like that, and start holding those men accountable instead of holding women accountable for the way that men treated them. Because when you discredit a single mother, what you're doing is holding her accountable for what a man did to her. She chose to leave. She chose to separate herself from that when she realized that she couldn't deal with it anymore. She chose to do that. Give her props for that. Yeah, she might have been with a man she shouldn't have been with, but it's not her fault that he was the type of man that he was. It's her fault for loving him for as long as she did, and for trying to help him, and for trying to fix him for as long as she did, and she takes that credit. But make him take credit for what he did and is still doing to women right now. Men need to start holding other men accountable, because if you're not going to hold other men accountable, I don't want to hear you holding a woman accountable one more time. Because women hold each other accountable all the time. Women are always combative with each other. Women going to hold women accountable, period. So y'all Negroes better start holding each other accountable, or I don't want to hear y'all say nothing else about a woman that got a vagina. Thank you.